All right, the gang is all here. This is a video I've wanted to do for quite some time. You know, I like looking back at the history of what I've used, what I used it on, and, you know, also since these are all made by Pinhoti, I like looking at what's changed over the years, and that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be looking at my history with Pinhoti packs and also the evolution of their packs. You know, what has changed from the very first ones to the very last ones. And we're just going to go through them one by one and kind of take a look back through my own little hiking history and the backpacks I've used. To start it out, we have the original Simple Pack, the first backpack that was ever made by John and Andy, where they first called themselves Pinhoti. As far as I can remember at this time, Pinhoti means to like keep moving, to keep going. I first got this pack. I was actually setting out on the Eastern Continental Trail, and I was almost done with the International Appalachian Trail at that time.
Well guys, this is the official end of the International Appalachian Trail. I still got, I want to say, 10 miles to Katahdin, which technically isn't part of the International Appalachian Trail. Happy to be here and happy to be moving pretty good. Got my new backpack. It's pretty cool. My Canadian flag flying high, doing 15.7 miles to Katahdin, and then I'm doing 15.1 after. So I don't know why I hate myself, but in other words, I'm doing almost 31 miles today and Katahdin.
I was using a different backpack. I was actually using a Mountain Laurel Designs Burn, which I had used for 2 years prior to that, and I was kind of struggling with it. You know, I found just with the walking all day style, to access my food or my gear or anything, I pretty much had to take off my pack, sit down, and go through the outer mesh pocket. And I didn't really like that too much. You know, I wanted easier access, and I saw John and Andy were making these packs that had a bottom pocket which you can store food in, you can store gear in, you know, whatever, and you can easily just, while you're hiking, reach in, grab that food, and continue hiking. The pack also had these integrated shoulder strap pockets, which I liked a lot too. You know, so again, I could keep my food in there, I could keep my phone, I could keep a little bit of maps in there. You know, so I really liked just the easy access of the things I needed throughout the day. I liked that I could keep hiking and I didn't have to stop and take off my pack and take a break just to get some food or just to get just about anything. So I'd reached out to, I think, Andy at the time, and you know, asked, hey, I really want to buy one of these packs. Can I do that? You know, can you guys send this to some podunk town in Maine on the International AT? And they were really cool about it, and they wound up sending me this one. So this is the first ever Simple Pack, and it's made out of X-Pack fabric, which is quite durable, but as I found over time, it was starting to delaminate a little bit. It is, as far as I know, a waterproof fabric. I really liked that at the time. It does have this little strap on the side, which I like to hang socks off of, or, you know, maybe you could slide an umbrella in there. So I very much liked this backpack. I used this backpack for the rest of the International Appalachian Trail, the remaining 100 miles I had. I used it for the entire Appalachian Trail. I used it for a piece of the Benton Mackaye Trail and the Pinhoti Trail and some road walking through Alabama, probably upwards of 3,000 miles. And it held up pretty darn well. You know, at a time the shoulder straps were starting to rip a little bit, but that was kind of a known issue that they were having at the time, which I haven't had a problem with any of the packs I've used since. So that was kind of like the only, you know, problem I had with the pack over 3,000 miles of use every single day, you know, in all sorts of weather. I really, really enjoyed it. I was still continuing onto that hike, and I had aspirations of setting a fastest known time, a speed record on the Florida Trail. Everything was kind of set in place for that, and my mind was ready for that. John had, heard that I was thinking about that. We were talking about that, and they were making this pack, the Cuben Simple Pack. It's lighter, it's got way less features to it, and he thought, hey, why don't we give this to that guy and let him test that for, 1,100 miles or whatever he's going to do with it, and just see how it holds up. I did use this pack, the Cuben Simple, on the Florida Trail. I was successful in setting the speed record on the Florida Trail, and I did continue 200 miles after that to hike all the way down to Key West, because that isn't part of the Florida Trail, but it is part of the ECT. This pack probably weighs like 9 ounces or something. The Simple Pack weighs maybe more like 12. Things that they had changed on this pack. It still has the bottom pocket, which from their first iterations of the Simple Pack was a bit more stretchy. It's still got the shoulder strap pockets. They used a different fabric for this one, a Cuben fiber or a Dyneema composite fabric, and it's really the thinnest fabric that you could possibly use in a pack. I personally wouldn't recommend like other pack makers to use this type of fabric unless your user is carrying like a 4-pound base weight. You really can't put a lot in this. So things they got rid of, the webbing on it is a lot thinner, so that saved a little bit of extra weight. Instead of having on the top here, most packs, like the Simple Pack, on the top, it's got these little snaps. Well, this pack only has one little button snap right on the top, and that is it. So they have really removed just about everything. It doesn't have that cord on the side. It's a smaller volume than the Simple Pack. I thought it was great for what I was using it for. Something super fast, super light, and I wasn't planning on using this for 3,000 miles because the fabric is just not going to hold up. Surprisingly, for the 1,300 miles from that trip and then all my overnight trips since then, there aren't any really signs of rips. Even the mesh pocket on the front, on the bottom, like the shoulder straps have stayed totally intact. This pack has held up incredibly well for what it's made of, but I don't think I would want another pack in this type of fabric just because it's not really going to last very long. The future packs that they've made since are just going to be so much more durable and so much better.
Finished the Florida Trail on January 7th in record time. 28 days. I don't know how many hours. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. 28 days plus some hours. Anyway, I took a few days off and now I'm back walking. I was wondering, am I gonna slow down at all? It's I don't have to be anywhere, so I'm just gonna wake up real late. Anyway, I am 35 miles into today with still an hour before sunset. So I guess that question is answered.
So moving on, I had hiked the ECT. That's a 5,000 mile hike, including the International AT, the Appalachian Trail, the Pinhoti Trail, the Florida Trail, all that stuff, and I'd used these 2 packs for it. I loved them. They solved every problem that I felt I was having with any of the packs I had previously from Gossamer Gear and from Mountain Laurel Designs. So I want to stick with Palante. I want to see what they were going to come up with next. And that is when they came up with the V2, or what is now known as the lightweight pack. They actually still make this one, just with different fabrics, and it looks a little bit better and sleeker then, because this is actually I believe one of the first prototypes they had ever made of it. So prototype V2 or lightweight backpack. It is significantly more volume than the other 2 packs, so I felt that this was going to be a good pack to use on the PCT, where I was going to need to have a bear can in here. I was going to have 200-mile stretches between towns, at least, based on what I was planning for my itinerary. And I felt that this pack was going to be able to handle that. And it really did. The 200-mile stretches, carrying like 3 to 4 liters of water at a time, the bear can inside or strapped on top. It all worked out really great. They did still have the shoulder strap pockets and the bottom pocket. A tiny problem that other users was having was food was occasionally, like a Laura bar or a Cliff bar or something, was sliding out of the bottom pocket and being left on the trail. So Pinhoti's solution was to sew that thing around a couple times, and kind of what that does is if anything is trying to work its way out, it kind of gets caught right at that edge. You know, they also started to sew that bottom pocket a little bit more around the side. You know, now stuff is going to have to contend with, you know, their new sewing practice and also getting around the corner of the bottom of the pack. I'm sure most of you know this, but if you didn't know, there is the main hole to get to your food, to get to your gear, whatever you're keeping down there. But there is also another hole on the other side that's only maybe like 1.5 inches wide. You know, so you take food out one side and then you put the trash back in the other side. So throughout the day, you know, the trash starts filling up one side, whereas the food is depleting from the other until the entire bottom pocket is filled with trash. It's a really great use of that bottom pocket and of that little hole there. This pack was using a different fabric. As far as I know, this is a Dyneema composite fabric. It is much, much thicker from the original Simple Pack, and then years thicker compared to the Cuben Simple Pack there. But this fabric, there was no rips ever for me. There was never any concern of rips, just a very durable fabric. You know, I think they want the lightweight pack to be able to have a much higher carrying capacity, to be able to hold more weight, and to just last forever. So this pack worked great for me. I used this on the Pacific Crest Trail for about 1,000 miles. I used this on the Sheltowee Trace Trail in 2019. I used this on the Florida Trail just this past year. So this pack has, I want to say, 2,500 miles on it, and it is still in great shape. You know, I would probably still use this if I wanted more carrying capacity for my trips. The next pack they're coming out with that I was kind of drooling over originally was the Joey pack. This is like Andy's, you know, dream backpack right here. Andy is a runner. Andy is a crazy, crazy fast hiker. So he wanted a pack with a running vest style, something that was going to be more secure to his body, something that was going to be very lightweight, that he could maybe jog with, that he could scramble up crazy mountain lines with. And that's kind of how this pack was born. You know, I used this pack on the Pacific Northwest Trail, and I loved it. With the running vest style straps, and you've got the 2 sternum straps here, you know, that attach across your chest. On the side, you have 2 straps that kind of, again, just help this pack hug your body. You know, instead of hanging off my back further, you know, the weight was really close up to my body. I actually had to carry a bear can on that trail for a large section through Olympic National Forest, and this pack holds a bear can as well. You could either strap it on top or you could put it inside the pack. So anyway, this pack had a lot of changes. You know, at this point, they had tried this fabric, the grid stop fabric, on the V2s. I know there's a few of you out there that probably have those. The grid stop fabric is very lightweight and extremely durable, though it isn't really waterproof. It is water resistant, but not waterproof. However, you're trading that off for a very, very durable fabric. So that was certainly one change. It is smaller. It does have these very comfortable straps that they were trying out. I know these went through many, many iterations. It had these larger pockets on the front. I guess other stuff that had started to change over the years, you know, the original packs used these little snap closures for the top strap, whereas with the V2 and everything since, they've used this kind of like little slide enclosure here, you know, which I think is easier to use, it's nicer to use, and it certainly looks cooler. It does have a smaller bottom pocket. I actually visited them in Salt Lake City and used this pack on the Uinta Highline Trail and was able to give them feedback, you know, what I thought it needed and what I thought could be changed for a future iteration, which was pretty cool too. And I know they've made some of those changes for the Joey that they just came out with. I use this pack for I don't know, probably 1,100 miles. That is the Pinhoti, and then also the Uinta Highline Trail. Absolutely no signs of durability issues. Everything was holding together, and generally just really liked this pack. So this pack had a lot of features in a very small package, and I very much enjoyed using it and thought it was very comfortable. So anyway, now we come up to their most current backpacks. This is the Ultralight backpack. If you look at the evolution of these packs, every year they've changed slightly. And just when I visited them in Salt Lake and was able to go through their bins of just all the packs that they've only sewn the body, it doesn't even have straps on it, they're just testing out this or testing out that. And, these packs have gone through a lot of iterations. I have quite a few of them, but I know at Andy's place in the Palante office, they have probably, hundreds of just prototypes and stuff sitting in boxes where they were trying different things. Anyway, this is the Ultralight pack. This is the type of pack that I'd probably carry on, say, the Pacific Crest Trail or the Appalachian Trail maybe. It does have a little bit more volume than, say, the Joey, so for a longer through hike, I think this would be great if you're going very ultralight like I like to do. They've certainly made the straps wider and thicker to be more comfortable. This pack is very minimal, and I know it uses a Robic nylon fabric. It's not going to be waterproof, but it is going to be very durable, and it is going to be very light. I know that was one of the trade-offs they made where, it's not waterproof, but they're making that trade-off so that it can be lighter weight and still have a lot of durability to it. So this is a pack that I expect to use for many, many years to come, and I'm just very excited with how it came out. It's still got a lot of the same features of the original packs. It's got that cord on the side. You can slide the umbrella in. It's got side pockets where you can easily fit 2 water bottles. The shoulder straps are thicker and wider, with those updated pockets. The bottom pocket still has that nice little design, so stuff isn't going to be falling out. So as far as I'm concerned, this pack is just like the culmination of everything they've learned from all their past packs, from all the people out testing them and using them. I know that pretty much each one of these packs has been tried in multiple different fabrics and have been out on the PCT, the Appalachian Trail, the Continental Divide Trail with, just all sorts of different hikers. And I think that, this is kind of, at least for me, this is like my perfect through hiking pack. It's smaller, it's lighter, it's got all of these nice little features to it. So hopefully next year I can get out and do some more serious through hiking with that thing. Now here we have the updated Joey backpack, which they, I believe, just came out with. I haven't been able to get out and use this at all yet. I literally just got it like a week ago. I still thought it would be fun to kind of compare it to the old Joey, and something you notice immediately is kind of a change in fabrics again. They're using the same fabric as the Ultralight backpack here, that Robic nylon that's going to be lighter weight and really durable. It's got a very sleek design to it. It seems that they bulked up the fabrics in the side pockets and again added those kind of flipped over and rolled over stretchy cord there so stuff isn't going to come out. I know Andy's original design or idea was that water bottles are going to go up on the chest, whereas maybe more food is going to be stored on the sides. This pack, the Joey, was really made for fastest known times and speed records. So I think it's also great just, I use this as a normal through hiker and I loved it. I thought it was very comfortable and I enjoyed the extra pockets and, all the features to it. So anyway, it looks like they've got a little bit of an updated sternum strap here, or at least how it attaches so it's more adjustable. They've still got the 2 sternums going across. And something that I'm very happy about is they added an extra pocket to the shoulder straps with this one. Again, I feel like if you're hiking a fastest known time, or if you're just a really speedy hiker that doesn't want to take any breaks, having everything at the ready, having everything in these pockets that you can easily reach throughout the day is, it's just essential. So both shoulder strap pockets have an extra one just underneath it for maybe smaller things. Something they started doing with the V2 when they were moving from the Simple Pack to the V2 was they started adding this like nice curvature to it. You know, so instead of it just being like a box, it's now a lot more like artsy, and they've kind of kept up with that with all the pack scents. You can really see it exaggerated with the Joey backpack and a little bit less with the Ultralight pack, but it is still there. I think it makes the pack look a lot sleeker, a lot nicer, and you know, I think in some ways it also helps with weight distribution, you know, where you're gonna have more weight towards the top of the pack instead of the bottom of the pack, and I think that's gonna be a lot more comfortable to carry. So this pack I'm gonna use for shorter through hikes where I don't have to carry as much. Maybe I don't have to go in between towns as often. You know, if I ever hike the Florida Trail again and do it fast, or maybe the Appalachian Trail would be great for this because there's a lot of towns, you know, you don't need to carry as much food. I think it's just a great design, a really sleek looking pack. I'm very happy with kind of the evolution and what Pinhoti has gone through over the years. They're probably coming up on 5 years of selling backpacks now, and then Andy himself has, you know, probably a couple more years or a few more years prior to that of just making backpacks for himself. So, you know, they've learned a lot over the years, and I think it really, really shows with the newest Ultralight pack, the Joey pack, and then the newer iterations of the lightweight pack. Looking at the evolution over the years of these backpacks and, you know, where they started with this first pack and, you know, kind of what they look like now, like these are just finished products. They're beautiful. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my history. You know, throughout the years, I started talking to John and Andy because I was using their backpacks and I love them so much. By the time I was using like still the Cuben Simple and starting to get into the V2, I was able to hang out with John and do some hiking with him and, you know, become good friends. We're still good friends today. You know, so this has been my history with Pinhoti and looking at the evolution of their backpacks over time. You know, I'm actually wearing one of their fleece jackets right now as well. So they've branched out from backpacks and are doing other stuff too. And as always, thank you guys so much for following along. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.